Hi everyone, welcome to today's Hooray, it's Thursday with Courtney. I'm coming to you to show you today one of my favorite retiring stamp sets. You haven't seen me using it a lot. I have used it in class. I've had it as a class card and I've used it for a few other personal things, but you may not have seen many of the things on my page for it. But it is one of my favorites. So let me introduce to you Sea Turtle. Now, it's been around for a little while. It's one of our reversible stamps, and you will see there's more coming of reversible stamps. So I just thought I'd have a play with it before it goes. I've got some neutral colored cardstock. This is pecan pie and some early espresso. This here is our watercolor fluid 100 paper. Now you'll notice that our aqua markers, our aqua water pens, whatever you want to call them, they've already all gone. So what I've brought in with me is the brush from our embossing kit. So it comes with the little tray for your embossing, the embossing buddy, and there's this little brush to help you brush things out. Now I've used it for a whole heap of other stuff. I've used it so much that it's actually stained. So, but what I thought I'd show you is some things that I wanted to do, just some really basic, some nice quick cards. I pulled over the Bokeh, the itty bitty Bokeh gems, and this is from our Baker's Twine Essentials. So we've got a few things on the table. Just a little bit of water. Before we start doing anything, I am going to wet this up a bit, just so that it can actually take up some of our water. So I'm just giving it a bit of a light brush with some water over the top of it, just so that that water can have the opportunity to absorb into there. Okay, so with a little bit of pecan pie to go with our background here. I haven't even decided if I'm going to have a turtle on this card yet. Hope you're all well. Now, you know the last chance list is live. It's been live for the month so far, so there's quite a few goodies on that, and there's a few. This stamp set's one of them. It's been reduced, so it's a perfect time to get it if you haven't already got it. So this paper is damp. I'm just going to add a little bit of ink to my brush. Now, what I can suggest with you doing this is using it the same as you would our water painters. So you might be able to get some of them online on a retired site or something like that. The only reason they've gone is because of supply issues. You can always add more, you can't take it away. So just be aware of that when you're doing this. And then I'm going to just give it a bit of a flick. Oops. Get some more water on it. It's not flicking very well. Okay. The other thing you can do to flick is give it a bit of a tap. You don't want any of your other bits of cardstock around when you're doing this. Okay. Just provides like a nice little subtle change. It's not really how I wanted it to go, but you know what it's like when you're playing with water. Now you do have two sides to this, the same as you do everything else. So if you decide that you don't like it, you can turn it over and you can wet it on the other side. Oops. You can wet it on the other side. This has still got some water on it. It's still got some color in it. And then you can decide which one that you like the best. Okay. So it just depends on how subtle you want to be with your colors and with your water and your ink. Okay, so we'll see. What we'll do is we'll see how that dries. Whoa, it's all running everywhere. I actually prefer this second side. Oh, there's a kid ringing me. Can't talk now, making a video. Bye-bye, darling. I think she's going to be cranky with me. Them's the breaks. I just might add a little bit more. Okay, yeah, I don't like how the other side's turning out. It's gone all pinky color, but that could just be the pecan pie on it. You can move it around a little bit. You can always add more later. You just want to make it so that you let's rest it over here. Okay. And we'll just clear this bit off here. So we'll just get back to that. That's fine. So that's where we're starting with. We're going to have a watercolor wash at the back using the Fluid 100 paper. The Fluid 100 paper is fabulous for watercoloring. Like you just saw, it's quite thick, so it doesn't matter if you stuff it up, which I did, but that's okay. We'll end up with one good side either way. All right. If it's taking too long to dry, you can dry it with a heat tool, which I'm actually going to stand it up, but that means it's going, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's quite damp. So we'll give it a chance because I've got lots of other things to do in the meantime, but I want to get all this water off here. All right, and just give your brush a bit of a clean. Okay, so we've got all these other pieces here. One of the pieces I've got is so that I can actually stamp some images. So these have got some really nice, they've got sand dollars, they've got weeds, it's got lots of things. So we're going to do some starfish, some sand dollars, and because we might do a turtle. I'll say might because I don't know. We'll see how we go. All right, so what I've done is I've pulled out a few little pieces. I've got both sides starfish. All right, and I've got the sand dollar. Now, make sure you stamp it whichever side up you want it. I am going to stamp my starfish in. First, I might do a Calypso Coral one for the bigger one, just to add a little bit of colour. If you want to stamp off, you can, and I'll stamp off onto here. All right, but we'll start with doing, I believe, yep, I got the solid side. Okay, and then turn it over and you've got a flat side. Now it won't stick as well, whoopsie, it won't stick as well to, because that side is textured, it won't stick as well to the stamp block as the other side does, but it still does stick. And it's just because there's texture on it. I'm stamping that off though, because I don't want it to be ever so dark. Okay, so stamp it off on a dark piece of cardstock or on a scrap piece of cardstock, whatever your preferred place to stamp off is. All right, now, so we've just got those two little guys. Let's give that a clean and stick that on my block. Then I've got the little tiny one. So I don't know why I took that off there. So I'm going to do the little tiny one in pecan pie. And I don't know how many of it I'm going to need, but I'll do at least, might do at least 2. I usually do things in odd numbers, so we'll do 3 of that. But I think I might end up using 3 of the sand dollar. Clean off the ink because then that way it sticks better. Do as you're told. All right. And again, I've stamped it off. It just makes it that so that you can actually see I think they call it second generation stamping. Now, I don't know if this one will show it. No, it didn't. Sometimes when you stamp over the top of another color, you get a shadow from that color. This one here is soft sea foam. And it's such a pretty color. So it's just so light and pretty. Okay. I have 2 of that. Let's give it a bit of a clean. And again, the same deal, because as you can see, there's that white area there. Oh. And essentially all I'm doing is stopping it from being white behind it. Okay. If you want some weeds, the weed does the same thing. Okay. And it just depends on if you need weeds or not. Okay. The turtle. Now, these turtles are rather cute. This is the little baby turtle, and there is quite a big turtle. He's shown at 60%. So you can see he's quite huge, and there's little fish. Now, because of the way that we've actually stamped our paper, we'll put the water on our paper, it looks like sand. So stamping our fish are not going to work. Okay. It's still taking its sweet time to dry, let me tell you. So we'll just cut these guys out while we're waiting. All right. Have you got a favourite stamp set that's on the retiring list? Or the last chance? They call it last chance list these days. It's quite appropriate. It's the last time you're going to be able to get it. All right. You don't want to leave things to the last minute. I know that they potentially may reduce them again, but you just don't want to leave them to the last minute. I'm sorry about the fuzz, guys. It's a bit, how's your father? All right, so this time I'm actually going to cut it quite close around my starfish. Okay. Yeah, I know. It's all good. All right, you just got to hold your tongue right. So I'm cutting quite close to my starfish rather than leaving that white edge that I sometimes leave. I've decided this time I'm not going to, and that's because I just happened to get a bit close when I was cutting around it. Again, you'll see that I am moving the paper rather than moving the scissors. One starfish. I have a sneaking suspicion I'm only going to use one of these. I'm just going to do like a little C cluster, for want of a better way of putting it. Which is probably why I won't need the weeds either, even though I've stamped them. Now, you'll notice this stamp set does not have a sentiment in it. Okay, so you can use any stamp set you like for your sentiment because, you know, it could be a just because card, it could be a birthday card. It depends. It depends on who your seafaring person is that you like, that you're going to give this card to. All right, nearly around this second one. This is the time when, if you wanted to, is to speed it up. You know that you can do that on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can't do it on the live, but you can do it at other times when like when you're rewatching, when you're going back and watching replay, you can set your YouTube to go 1.5 times. I sound really funny when you do it, but that's okay. Doesn't worry me. If you can tolerate the noise, that's good. But I watch a lot of things in 1.5 speed so that you get to see things happen quicker, because if you want to craft along, then you can always make things, you can always pause stuff so that you can actually craft along as well. So let me tell you what I've got here. I've got my card base, which is just a 4-piece cut in half. I've just cut it in half so that I can make a portrait card, because everybody knows I do love the portrait cards. So I've cut it in half. I've cut it at 14.8 and a bit. So sort of a bit halfway in between that 14.8 and 14.9 mark. They're not always 100% even, but that's okay. I'm not going to cut up two at the same. I'm not going to use both pieces at the same time. So I'm not measuring against each other. I've got a piece of basic white for the middle. And then what I've got on the outside is some early espresso. Now that early espresso is cut at 8.5 centimeters by 12.5, and then I've chopped off 0.5 centimeter each way for my watercolor paper. So just then it gives you that little tiny border around it. It's drying quite yellow. You get all different effects depending on what color you use and depending on how much water you put with it. So if it's really wet, you'll get more of the colors will separate. And how's that? Here it comes, and sweet as. All right. Yeah, I think I'll do this one. I don't know if I'm going to use this one. I might end up putting it on the inside, but we'll do it just in case. So the little turtle, both of the turtles, they will also work the same way if you they're reversible as well. Actually, looking at it, every piece in here is reversible. Now you won't get an even squiggle. It's not what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out here. The piece for the seaweed, you'll get a different shape. So whereas the dollar and the starfish and the turtle, you get the same shape when you turn it over. Okay, but you don't with the other bits. All right, might pop a turtle on the inside here. So what I'm going to do with the turtle's actually quite pretty. And now I brought over a blending brush. A small one would have worked better, but they've all developed legs and moved into the washing machine. So what I'm going to do with my turtle is I'm going to actually add some soft sea foam to him, right, because he's a little tiny green turtle. But then using my blending brush, I'm going to add a bit of pecan pie. So all I'm doing is dabbing a little bit of pecan pie onto him, and you'll see what color because that soft sea foam's quite subtle. And a little bit of, give him a little bit of Calypso coral down his back. Now you're going to have to huff on him to make sure he stays wet. And let's see what color turtle we get here. And if we like it. Oh, look at him. He's actually really pretty. Look at that. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn him over, force him to stick down. And I'm going to put a little bit of our soft sea foam over the top of him. And I stuffed him up. But do you know what? He still looks relatively good because I didn't him a bit out of colour. Now, the other thing that you can do here is what you can give him a little bit of zhooshing around anyway, just to give him a bit of, like he's on the sand. All right, but he's rather cute. Okay, a little bit of weed. Whoop, what happened there? That was bad. Okay, cool. So we've got a little bit of weed in there as well. Right, so it just sort of looks like he's swimming around. And that's going to be my inside. Now, let me see if this is dry enough for what I want to do with it. No, it's still quite wet. So really needs that. Needs to be dried. That's what happens when you do both sides. But essentially, it's going to sit on there. It's not real hot today either, so it's going to take a little bit to dry. And my heat gun is not sitting on my table, so I don't know what I've done with it. Yeah, no, I don't know what I've done with it. It's around somewhere, but it's not over here, so we'll have to just wait for it to dry. That's okay. While we're waiting for that to dry, this piece here is going to sit on here, and you'll notice this is looking quite boring around here. Okay, so what we can do in there is we've got these little tiny fish. Again, these ones are also, like, see, the weed, even though it's not, it doesn't look the same, if you turn it over, it will work. Okay, so I do like how they give you all those hints when they put everything on. So let's do some fish. Now the fish, because of the colouring that I've got here, I'm actually going to stamp the fish so that they're tone on tone. But I don't want them really dark, because like what you'll see here is when I stamp them on there, they're quite dark. I don't necessarily want them that dark. So I'm going to stamp off in the middle, which is where my, what's that called? My other piece will be sitting. All right. And if you're doing this, my suggestion is that you stamp different fish all the way down the side so that it's not always the same fish in a row. And you just make it a little bit variable. And nobody said you only had to do one stamp. You can make it so that it's darker at the bottom and then lighter as you go up. Now it looks like a mess, but as you could see before, you're not going to see all of that bit. Okay, you're not even going to see that turtle that's sitting on there. All right, we do need a sentiment. Now I've still got Sweetest Bloom sitting on the table, so I thought I'd use that because I really like this You Make Me Smile, and I like the hello. So, but I thought we'll just use You Make Me Smile today because it is actually a really pretty sentiment, and it's nice and big. Okay, so you will need one of the bigger blocks. Okay. All right. And I've got this little piece of basic white here, and I'm going to stamp that. I think, oh, I'm going to stamp it in espresso just because I can. Although, no, you know what I'm going to do? Thinking on the fly here. I'm going to stamp it in Pecan Pie. Hold your tongue right, Court. Okay. And then I'm actually going to, bringing out the snips again, we're going to give it a bit of a wider cut. But I'm actually going to go like so, and I'm going to sort of fussy cut around it. Now it's up to you whether you then put a darker piece underneath or whether you just shove this. That sounds dreadful. Whether you just use this as is. You Make Me Smile. It's just such a pretty. All right, I can come in here a little bit more. And here. All right, because I'm going to stick that over the top of my, oh, it's still wet. Over the top of my cluster of pieces. Okay, I'm just giving it a bit of a flap and a blow around. And I'm wishing that I had my heat gun here, but I can't seem to see it off the top of my head. I was doing some embossing the other day. There's something magic about embossing, isn't there? Okay, it's getting there. That's fine. All right, so we're going to make a little cluster under there. Let's pop our inside in. And we didn't stamp our envelope. We do need to do that. Okay. Oh, that's right. I just remembered I was supposed to make another card. One of my girlfriends having a birthday. Do you do that? Do you make heaps of cards? I know Lol does. You make heaps of cards just when you can, and then when it's someone's birthday, you actually make them a card special. You don't use the ones that you've already made. All right, so I've just got, what's that? About 24 centimeters. This twine, you can pull it apart, and it pulls apart quite nicely. So yeah, so you can pull it apart and you can get some really fine wispy bits. You can change the color of it. You can do lots of different things with it, but it just works out quite nicely if you just strip it, because then and like, I won't use all the pieces. I'm just going to use a couple. Makes it look a bit like fishing liney. Okay, so let me see, how's this going? It's still a little bit damp, but we're going to be able to use it, I think. Well, I'm going to make it so we can, and then it can dry by itself later. So yeah, see what I mean? That side's not as appealing, whereas this side looks pretty good. Oh, that side looks pretty good. Okay, let's put a little bit of glue around the edges. Okay, this is going to adhere onto here. Okay, now if you were stamping directly onto that, your sentiments directly onto this, you would have no choice. You would have to make it so that you definitely, that was definitely really dry. Okay, otherwise it just won't work. Okay, so this sentiment is going to end up sitting off to the side a little bit, okay, because that's going to sit on here. And we're going to put our cluster underneath of it, okay? So what we'll do, actually, let's glue this down so that it doesn't wiggle too much. And you can see, look, up where I've used all those pieces, you don't even know. You can't see them, okay? Eyeball it so it's in the right spot. Hold your tongue right, you know, all the things that you've got to do. Now, my sentiment is going to be sticking up. Okay, so I'm thinking, you make me smile. So we're going to need this guy under here. Okay, and everybody else is going to go under there, but I think we'll see how we go with placement first. You will need some minis for this little bit down the end here. I usually tell everyone in my class I'm not as big a fan of the minis. You get more of them, so you know that's not a bad thing. But okay, so with all of our other pieces, the piece is going to sit there like that, and we'll have a sand dollar under here. Oopsie. And we'll have another one over here. It's up to you whether you use the second sand dollar or not. If you decide you've only cut out 2 sand dollars and you actually wanted 3, there's nothing stopping you from doing this so that it actually looks like there's 3. Okay, but what you just have to be aware of is if you do decide to do that, that's torn edge or cut edge ends up getting hidden quite nicely. So you just have to be aware of hiding that you've done it. Okay. All right, so this one's going to sit down here. And you'll notice how I'm putting them off to the So that's off as well. Now with this twine, I don't want it neat. So it's like looking like a little bundle of joy. A little bundle of messed up fishing line, essentially. I'm just going to put a piece of tape in the middle here. My take your pick tool's over on the other desk. And because this is damp, it's not going to let me pick it up nicely. Here's half a take your pick tool. I've got more than one of them, but I've been using them over there. So I've just got this little cluster, for want of a better word, of stuff. So that's going to sit there like that. Might need another piece. Alrighty. You don't need to only use one piece. You can use 2 or 3 if you want. But they're just screwed up and stuck to that piece of tape that I've just put in the middle there. Okay. We'll stick this guy down. All right. This one's not stuck down, and neither is this. But you know what I'm going to do with this piece? So it's half a sand dollar, and I'm going to shove it under that side there, just because I can. All right. So you make me smile. Just take off the backs off here. It's just this would be just a nice thing to receive in the mail for anybody. What do you think? I just think it's pretty, it's cute, and it's a nice sentiment. So we've got to make sure we cover that cut piece that's there. And I'm going to put the You Make Me Smile. Oh, that piece isn't stuck down. You're not stuck down. Oh, why aren't you stuck down? Did I put glue on you? I did. My guess is it's not stuck down because it's still damp under there. It's not wet, but it's damp. Okay, You Make Me Smile is going to sit just about there. Okay, and we were going to stick this little guy. He could have sat up actually, but it's too late now. I've just put glue on him. He's just going to sit there like so. Okay, now these little itty bitty bokeh pieces, they're all pinks and blues and whatnot, but there's some really pretty clears in here. So I'm just going to add some teeny tiny dots. All right, so there's about 7. Okay, and then I'm going to pull out some of these guys. Now this is where it'd be handy having my take your pick tool with me, and I'm just going to drop them on to those dots of glue. Now there's all different sizes, like there is colors, and it's just a matter of finding the ones that you want. Whoops. That one looks like it's quite thick. I reckon there's 2 of them there that they've cut, and there's 2 together. I don't know. It's only one. But yeah, so there's 2 different sizes of those, and there's 2 different sizes of all the other pieces as well. All right, so I'm just going like so. Oh, Miss Mavy's doing a runner. Where are you going, darling?
I'm ready, mate. I'm going to dancing.
Yeah, have a good night. I won't be here when you get back.
Okay. Dad told me to do the bin side.
Okay, cool. Love you, bye. I'm doing a video.
I know.
I still had to hear all about what Dad told her to do before she left. Hopefully she's taken a key. I'm not planning on being here when she gets back. And one last one. but this one is definitely more than one. Okay, so they add just a little tiny bit of extra color, all right? But they're really cute. What do you think? And then this, if you've got a spare one, you can either whack it on or you could stick it in here. And we're going to stick it in there, okay? And look, by the powers of magic, she's back. Okay, there we go. And that's in there. Oopsie. And there we have it. What do you think? That is the retiring last chance item, sea turtles. So you'll find the links in the blurb about the getting my catalogs, joining, and you'll also be able to find a link that takes you directly to the shop where you can buy what's new. But if you go into the shop and you click, there's like a little menu button. Bye. You can shop products, and there's actually a bit in there that you can shop the specials. So there is a whole last chance products list. Now, what I will tell you is if you're looking at what? Yep. If you're looking at last chance goodies, make sure if you're looking at a bundle, make sure that you check out the prices of the individual items in the bundle, because a lot of them have been reduced more and they are cheaper. Now, I will see you all same place, same time next week. Toodaloo.